Well, good morning and welcome to today's workbook lesson 18 out of A Course in Miracles. And I am so happy that you are here, and I am so grateful to be here as we take another step. Today is but another step towards the undoing of the way we see now, which the Course relates it to having a perception that is not based on that which is real, but based on that which is not real. And it's really a matter of our point of view. What is your point of view? What is my point of view? What are the lenses that I am thinking through and seeing through? Because the lenses will determine not only what I see, but how I see it. You know how we do. We ask each other, well, how do you see this? So we're asking the other person, from what point of view are you thinking and seeing? Very important. Cause and effect. We remember we learned that on yesterday. That there's no neutral thoughts. Nothing I see is neutral. But our point of view determines the cause. And it also determines how and what we think and see. We're beginning to see how our thinking apparatus works. And you can't stop it. It's always going to engage in the process of thinking and seeing. And without any discipline or without any understanding, the propensity is to think and to see from a point of view that is based on what is not real, because we've been highly developed and trained in doing that. So we have to now become highly developed and trained in thinking and seeing based on what is reality. And the Course defined to us what is reality. Let me go back and review that for us before we jump into the lesson. Very important that we keep revisiting this. It says that the Course makes a fundamental distinction between the real and the unreal. Fundamentally, life will be experienced either from one or the other perspective, from the reality or from what is unreal. So reality has to do with a knowing, knowledge or knowing. It has to do with knowing truth. It has to do with that truth is one law, the law of love or the law of God. Law basically means that it is just the way it is. It's the operating system. It's the way that it operates under the one law. It's the point of view in which it operates. Okay? Reality has to do with, or that which is real has to do with, again, law or God. So it is here. That's why I interchange the words as we go through these lessons, because reality equates love and God, puts them in the same equal meaning. Even the Bible says that God is love. So God and love are one and the same. Okay? And so what God creates is love. And so if God is our creator, that means that we are love. Loving, and we're lovable. That's who and what we are. We are love, loving, and lovable. Therefore, we do not have to go and find love or look for love outside of ourselves. It is intrinsic in our essential nature. So let's just say it to ourselves. I am love. Doesn't that feel good? I am loving, meaning I continue to be loved. And then I am lovable. I am able to love, meaning to extend it. Why? Because that's what I am. Just let that sink deeply into our mind and our hearts. I am love. Okay, again, we're still defining what is real. Okay, knowledge is truth under one law, the law of God or the law of love. Truth is unalterable. The word unalterable meaning it cannot be altered. It cannot be changed. It says that truth is eternal. Eternal means it is beyond time and space. Okay? And it is unambiguous, meaning it is not fickle. It's not affected by what we think about it or who gets involved with it. It's not affected by situations, circumstances, or conditions. Truth or reality can be unrecognized. In other words, we can be walking in the midst of it and don't even recognize it. But it cannot be changed. Can't be altered, can't be changed. Truth or reality, it applies to everything that God created. So we have to know what did God create? He created like unto himself. So anything that is not like unto himself is not created. It's made by our misperceptions. Anything that God didn't create, man made through his own misperceptions. It says, and only what he created is real. There you go. Only what God creates is real. So if it's not real, God didn't create it. But what God extended and then took on an opinion of his own, mankind made it. Like God didn't make the mess in the world. We did. God didn't create the mess in the world. We made it. It's like you're bringing a child in the world, and you create this beautiful environment for this child, what we call a nursery. That's what the parents created, thoughtfully, with only the best interest in mind of the child. But by the time the child is able to move around at the age of 1 to 1.5, and the parents walk in the room one day and the child has pulled everything onto the floor, off the dresser, out the drawers, everything. And the parents walk in and said, "Who made this mess?" Notice now, the parents didn't do it. The child made it. The parents created a lovely environment, but the child made a mess. And that's kind of how we do. God only created what is perfect, what is real. He created you and me. And we are perfect and we are real. And we can't change that. We can't alter that. We can not recognize it and call ourselves, unperfect. Call ourselves something else. Do we try to alter it? But we won't be successful. All we will be successful in is believing in an illusion. What God creates is perfect. And God's one creation is you and me. Somewhere we got reconditioned to think differently. And that perfection is in bodies. Perfection is not in bodies. It is in your essential nature that got covered up or veiled by a tiny mad idea of believing that you're separated from that perfection, from that God, from that essential nature, which is love. And that is impossible. It's impossible. No matter how long we hold on to the lie, it's still impossible. And so, to complete the meaning of what is real, it says, it is beyond learning. So reality is beyond what you can learn. It's just not something you just learn. It's beyond learning because it is beyond time and space. Who you are is beyond this earth realm. Your reality is beyond this earth realm. So in the earth realm, it's not something that you learn. Remember, it's knowledge is something that you know. It says, it has no opposite. There's no opposite to you. You are love, period. You are unchangeable, period. You are under the law of love, period. And then it said, it has no opposite. It has no beginning. You have no beginning. And you have no end. It says, it merely is. We merely are. Put your hand on your heart and say it. I am. That's what the I am statement is. I am, meaning I merely am. Love, eternal, unchangeable, unambiguous, created by the one God under one law. That law is love. birthless, deathless, no beginning, no end. That's what birthless and deathless mean. Beyond time and space. I'm not subject to time, the clock, and I'm not subject to the space that I occupy. I'm eternal. I'm infinite. I'm the real deal. You are the real deal. Coke's not the real thing. You are the real thing. And so we get into the lesson. That's just a little foundation. And lesson 18 says, I am. There that I am again. See, what's he talking about? I am not alone. I am not alone. I am not all one in the experiencing of the effects of my seeing. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of what I'm seeing, of my seeing. In other words, effects has to do with results. I am not alone in experiencing the results of what of my seeing. And today we're going to get in. It's not so much what you see, is how you're seeing. Okay? It's not so much the what, but the how. How are you seeing? How are you seeing yourself? How are you perceiving yourself? How are you seeing others? How are you perceiving others? Is it from the definition of reality that we just concluded? Or is it from a different way of thinking? On an opposite way of thinking, which the Course describes as the ego, an egoic point of view. So is your point of view of love, or is it a point of view of fear, which is the basis for the ego? Because when we don't embrace the love that we are, we introduce and we connect with fear, which is the seeming opposite of love. But we know that in reality, there is no opposite. So if there is no opposite in reality, what are we actually holding on to? What are we actually joining with? We would have to be joining with an illusion, that which is not real. We would have to be joining with a dream, that which is not real. We are getting down to brass tacks here. We are beginning to observe and understand the way the mind, the way seeing and thinking operates. See, if you don't know how a thing operates, then you're just at the mercy of its outcome. But when you understand how the mind operates, and that you have a decision in that operation, then you begin to be the leader. You begin to be like Moses said in Genesis chapter 1. You begin to be the God of this world. You begin to be the master. You become the masterminder. You begin to master your own mind. You begin to be like Jesus said, let this mind. Which mind? The mind that is mastered by reality be in you, and be the one that you operate from. All right. So it says the idea for today is another step. Okay, so we're taking step 18 today on our journey back to the what? Back to the truth, back to reality. You know, there's a song that says, back to reality. Yes. It says, the idea for today is another step in learning, okay, that the thoughts which give rise to what you see are never neutral or unimportant. No thought is neutral and no thought is unimportant. Okay? It also emphasizes the idea that minds, plural, more than one, minds are joined. Or we can say it another way. It also emphasizes the idea that there is one mind, that we all share the same mind. Okay? Because it appears that there are individuated minds, because it appears that we are in individuated bodies and that everybody have their own mind. That's the way it seems. But have you ever seen the mind? We know we've seen the body, but have you ever seen the mind? And would you recognize it if you saw it? So, the fact is, there are individual physical bodies in this dimension of life. That's a fact, but it's not a fact that each body has an individual mind, because here it's saying that the idea that is introducing is that minds are joined, or you can say it one other way: we all share the same mind, just like we all share the same reality of love, just like we all share the reality of this one life, and we share it. It is only one life, and we all are part of that life. But here it's saying that we all share the same mind, and we're all a part of that mind. Minds are joined. And what it's saying is that's the only thing that can be joined. Why? Because bodies cannot join. Have you ever tried to join bodies and make two bodies one? It's impossible. But it's not impossible for us to have one thought and one way of seeing. Minds can join. Minds are one. Bodies are not. Okay, so we're lifting our awareness and our perception from the body identification, okay, that we were so highly developed and trained in, okay, to the invisible identification that we call the I am. I am meaning one. I am present. I am present that I am. I am one that I am one. Okay. I am love that I am. But we taken the idea of the oneness and we split it up into these multitude of opposites that are illusions. And now we say, I am a sinner. I am, I am lacking. I am imperfect. I am angry. I am mad. I am hurt. I am. See, we've taken that I am through the lens of the ego, and we tried to undo reality with it. I am black. I'm a Republican. I am a female. I'm a male. I'm an American. I am a human. See all the labels see how we use, the conditioning of this world to try to undo reality. And then we grow up, by the time we get to be 20, we're so confused about who we are, what we are. But we did it to ourselves. Now we have to undo it, and that's what we're doing in this workbook, these workbook lessons. So it says, so the things that we're learning today, it gives rise to what you see, and never neutral and unimportant thoughts are. It emphasizes the idea that minds are joined or minds are shared, which will be given increasing stress later on. So as we move up the steps, as we move back up the steps to reality, because remember, the ego led us down the steps from reality. The ego, the belief in separation, the belief in division, led us down, 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 down from this high level vibration of love and bliss in heaven and God and Christ consciousness. And we digressed down to this lower vibration of sin, guilt, and fear-based thinking. And now we gotta undo that and head back up the steps, and we on step 18. Okay. So it says, today's idea does not refer to what you see as much as how you see it. So how you see a thing is more important than what you see, because how you see determines what you see. Cause, how I see it from love, and effect. Cause, I see it from the ego perspective. The effect is what? Separation, division, destruction. Not loving, but fearful. So when we experience fear, it is an indication that our point of view is, from an ego perspective, we're looking from separation. We're looking from a point of viewing of separation. Cause and effect is fear. When we look from the perspective of reality, love, the effects is what? What do we see? We see beauty. We see oneness. Okay? So we're going to apply these applications to what we see that is inanimate and what we see, which are people, which are animate. It says, therefore, the exercises for today emphasizes this aspect of your perception. So between the one idea between what is real and what is not. And we say what is real is knowledge and truth and reality and unchanging and unalterable and eternal and unambiguous and has no beginning and no end. It merely is. The other perspective, it says, is the world of perception, which means the world of interpretation. And we interpret things based on what? Based on our based on our point of viewing. The world of change, the world of come and go. See, that's the other option to operating in the world, is from the world of perceiving from a place of separation, which is what we're highly developed in. And now we have to go back to school, become students of A Course in Miracles, so that we can undo the way we were trained to think, and then think and have to open ourselves up to our original state of being, our original habitat, return to that, and so become love only. It's not this and that, but it is this. Our isness, it merely is. We fall back onto embracing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about who we are. So it says, therefore the exercise today emphasizes this aspect of perception. So this aspect of perception is that we do not experience the effects of our seeing alone. Look about you. So for the exercise today, we're going to do 3 or 4 practice periods, which we recommend, which are recommended. And let's do it this way. We're going to do it this way today. Look about you, selecting subjects for the application of the idea for today as randomly as possible. Remember, no exception. And keeping your eyes on each one long enough just to say, I am not alone in experiencing the effects of how I see in whatever object you lay your eyes on. Why are you not alone in experiencing the effect? Because minds are joined or minds are shared. So that means we affect not only our experience, but the experience of others based on the way that we see and based on how we see. We share the same, just like, see, the ego always try to mimic the truth or reality. So just like we share the same one loving reality, in the illusion, it appears that we're sharing the same ego idea of separation. So I am not alone in experiencing the effect of how I see and identify the object. Conclude each practice period by repeating the more general statement. I am not alone in experiencing the effects of my seeing. So what you see and how you see, you're not alone in experiencing that. Why? We're all sharing the universal mind, just like we all share the universal love. A minute or so, or even less, will be sufficient for each practice period. So today, as you go through your day, apply this idea. Observe how you're thinking, what you're thinking, because it affects how you're seeing. But understand that you're not experiencing the effects of what you see alone. We're all connected. We all share the same mind, the one mind. And so it is. Have a great day.